Daddy, why is that lady crying? A little girl's innocent question stops a billionaire in her tracks, but when her single dad answers with words so powerful they pierce through her walls, she hires him on the spot. Yet what hidden pain, ruthless enemies, and impossible choices will explode when their worlds collide? Before we get into the story, comment below where in the world you are watching from today. The mop handle left splinters in Daniel Harper's palms as he wrung out the last of the gray water. His back screamed from 12 hours bent over floors and under desks, but the office building gleamed. Every surface reflected the fluorescent lights like mirrors. "Looking good, Harper?" The security guard nodded from behind his desk. "My wife says you fixed her mother's porch last week. Won't stop talking about what a miracle worker you are." Daniel managed a tired smile. "Just doing my job." Outside, December wind cut through his worn jacket. The bus ride home stretched 45 minutes through sleeping neighborhoods, past houses strung with Christmas lights that blinked like promises he couldn't afford to keep. His reflection in the window showed a man older than 42, gray threading through dark hair, lines carved deep around eyes that had seen too much loss. The apartment building's elevator was broken again, third time this month. Daniel climbed 4 flights, knees protesting with each step, but as he turned his key in the lock, exhaustion fell away. "Daddy!" Lily's voice rang out before the door fully opened. She sat at the kitchen table, pencil in hand, math workbook spread before her. Mrs. Chen from next door dozed on the couch, her knitting fallen to her lap. "Hey there, sunshine." Daniel kissed the top of Lily's head, breathing in the smell of her strawberry shampoo. "How's the homework going?" 7 times 8 is 56, and I remembered it all by myself. That's my smart girl. Mrs. Chen stirred, gathering her things. "She ate the sandwich you left. Been working hard all evening." Daniel pressed $20 into the elderly woman's hand. She tried to refuse, like always. "Please," he said, "you're saving my life here." After Mrs. Chen left, Daniel opened the fridge. Yesterday's pasta, some wilted salad, half a carton of milk. He heated the pasta in the microwave while Lily chattered about her day. Tommy brought his new action figure to school, but wouldn't let anyone touch it. Sarah's mom packed her cookies shaped like snowmen. Oh, and Mrs. Peterson says I write the best stories in class. The microwave beeped. Daniel divided the pasta between 2 plates, giving Lily the larger portion. "Not hungry?" Lily frowned at his plate. "Had a big lunch." The lie came easy. He'd skipped lunch to finish the Henderson's bathroom repair, earning an extra $30. They ate at the small table, Lily's feet swinging beneath her chair. "Knock, knock," she said through a mouthful of pasta. "Who's there?" "Interrupting cow." "Interrupting cow? Whoa! Moo!" Lily burst into giggles, spraying pasta sauce on her homework. Daniel laughed, real and deep. These moments made everything worth it, the aching joints, the empty stomach, the pride swallowed daily. After dinner, Lily brushed her teeth while Daniel tidied the kitchen. The bills on the counter caught his eye. Electric company past due, rent, final notice. He shuffled them under Lily's drawings of rainbows and stick-figure families. Story time! Lily bounced into her tiny bedroom, already in her faded princess pajamas. Daniel pulled the worn book from the nightstand. Its spine was cracked, pages soft from years of handling. Claire had read it to Lily every night during those last months, even when her voice grew whisper-thin. "The rabbit looked up at the stars," Daniel read, "and wondered if anyone was looking back." Lily curled against his side, thumb in her mouth, a habit she'd picked up after Claire died. "Do you think Mommy sees us from heaven?" Daniel's throat tightened. "I know she does, sweetheart. She watches you every day." "Does she see when I'm sad?" "Especially then. That's when she sends you extra love." Lily considered this. "Like when you make pancakes on Saturday even though we should save the mix?" "Exactly like that." He read until her breathing deepened, her small body growing heavy with sleep. Carefully, he tucked the quilt around her shoulders. Another of Claire's creations, stitched during her pregnancy with dreams of a future that ended too soon. In the living room, Daniel spread the bills across the coffee table. Numbers swam before his eyes. Even with both jobs, the math never worked. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through his contacts. Maybe Tom needed help with his roofing business, or he could pick up night shifts at the warehouse. But when would he see Lily? The photo on the mantel caught his eye. Their little family at the beach, Claire radiant, despite the cancer already growing inside her. She'd made him promise to give Lily everything, not money or things, but presence, love, time. "I'm trying, Claire," he whispered to the photo. "God knows I'm trying." Tomorrow was Friday. He'd promised Lily they'd see the Christmas lights downtown after school. The bus fare would eat into the grocery budget, but her face would light up brighter than any display. That had to count for something. Daniel turned off the lamp and stretched out on the couch that served as his bed. Through the thin walls, he heard sirens, arguments, the city's restless pulse. But from Lily's room came the soft sound of peaceful breathing. He thought about the plaza downtown, how magical it looked this time of year, the giant tree, the shop windows, the crowds of people celebrating the season. Lily deserved to be part of that world, even if just for an afternoon. His eyes grew heavy. Tomorrow would bring more work, more worry, but it would also bring Lily's laughter, her terrible jokes, her hand in his as they walked among the lights. For now, that was enough. It had to be. The bus lurched to a stop downtown, and Lily pressed her nose against the window, breath fogging the glass. "Look, Daddy, the big tree." Daniel helped her down the steps, her small hand warm in his calloused palm. The plaza stretched before them, transformed into a winter wonderland. White lights dripped from every surface like frozen waterfalls. The massive Norway spruce at the center towered 40 feet high, its branches heavy with golden ornaments. Lily tugged him forward, her red coat a bright spot among the sea of dark winter jackets. Daniel had found it at Goodwill last month, only missing one button. She'd declared it perfect. "Can we see the windows first, please?" The department store displays drew crowds 3 deep. Daniel lifted Lily onto his shoulders, her mittened hands gripping his hair. "There's elves! And a train that really moves." Her joy washed over him, pure and uncomplicated. Around them, families posed for photos, couples shared hot chocolate. Children pleaded for just one more look. The air smelled of roasted chestnuts and cinnamon, mixing with expensive perfume and car exhaust. "Daddy, listen!" Carolers stood near the fountain, their voices rising in harmony. Silent night drifted across the plaza, ancient words about peace and hope. Lily hummed along, off-key but earnest. Daniel lowered her back to the ground when his shoulders began to ache. She immediately spotted a vendor selling light-up necklaces. "Can we look? Just look?" "Just look," he agreed, knowing they couldn't afford even the cheapest trinket. While Lily admired the glowing merchandise, Daniel's attention drifted to a woman sitting alone on a nearby bench. Everything about her spoke money. The cashmere coat that probably cost more than his monthly rent, the leather handbag, the perfect silver hair. But something was wrong. Her shoulders shook, not from cold, but from suppressed sobs. The woman, she looked familiar somehow, dabbed at her eyes with a handkerchief, trying to maintain composure. But the tears kept coming, leaving dark tracks through her flawless makeup. Daniel looked away. Rich people had their problems too, he supposed. Still, seeing anyone hurt on Christmas tugged at something in him. "Daddy, come see the blue ones." But Lily had noticed too. She stood frozen, staring at the crying woman with that direct, guileless way children had. "Lily, don't stare." But she's sad. The woman's crying intensified, as if the word itself had broken another wall inside her. She buried her face in her hands. People walked past, deliberately not looking, the unwritten city rule of avoiding other people's breakdowns. Lily pulled at Daniel's jacket. "Daddy, why's that lady crying?" Her voice carried in that piercing way children's voices did. The woman's head snapped up. Even through tears, her eyes were sharp, intense, gray like winter storms. Daniel knelt beside his daughter, aware they were being watched. He chose his words carefully, speaking to Lily but knowing the woman would hear. Sometimes, even the strongest people forget how strong they are, sweetheart. That's when they need kindness most. Should we help her? Sometimes just knowing someone cares is help enough. The woman stared at them. Her mouth opened slightly, as if she wanted to speak but couldn't find words. Up close, Daniel recognized her. Evelyn Whitmore. Her face appeared on business magazines at the dentist's office, on billboards advertising luxury developments he'd never afford. What could possibly make someone like her cry in public? Lily, oblivious to social boundaries, walked over to the bench. Daniel reached for her, but she was already there, looking up at Evelyn with serious brown eyes. "It's okay to be sad. My daddy says tears water the garden in your heart so new things can grow." Evelyn's breath hitched. She looked from Lily to Daniel, mascara smudged, vulnerability naked on her face. "Your daddy sounds very wise." "He is. He fixes things. Maybe he could fix what made you sad." "Lily?" Daniel stepped forward, embarrassed. "I'm sorry, miss. Whitmore." "She doesn't understand. You know who I am?" "Everyone knows who you are, ma'am." Evelyn studied him. No judgment in his voice, no opportunistic gleam in his eye. Just a tired man in work boots, trying to give his daughter a nice afternoon. And yet you're not asking for anything. You're not hiring contractors in the middle of the plaza at Christmas. A sound escaped her, half laugh, half sob. "Daddy works really hard," Lily announced. "He has 2 jobs, but still reads me stories every night." "Lily, that's enough." But Evelyn was looking at them differently now. The CEO mask had cracked completely, revealing something raw underneath. 2 jobs? 3 when I can get it. Daniel wasn't sure why he was being honest. Maybe because she'd been crying. Tears were the great equalizer. "What kind of work?" "Whatever needs doing. Handyman, janitor, some roofing when my back allows." Evelyn stood abruptly. Even in emotional disarray, she commanded attention. Several passers-by recognized her, whispering behind their hands. "I should go." "The lights are prettier by the fountain," Lily offered. "That always makes me feel better when I'm sad." Evelyn looked down at the child, and something shifted in her expression. "Thank you, little one." She walked away, heels clicking on pavement, but stopped after a few steps, turned back. "Your daddy was right. Sometimes we forget our own strength." Then she was gone, swallowed by the crowd. Evelyn stopped again, her shoulders rigid. She turned fully this time, marching back toward them with the determined stride of someone facing an unpleasant board meeting. "You must think I'm pathetic." Her voice had hardened, the vulnerability replaced with defensive ice. "The great Evelyn Whitmore, crying on a public bench like someone having a hard day," Daniel interrupted gently. She blinked, thrown off her script. "Everyone has hard days, ma'am. Money doesn't make you immune to hurt." Lily dug in her coat pocket, producing a slightly sticky candy cane she'd been saving. She held it up to Evelyn. "Maybe this will help you smile. Peppermint always makes things better." Evelyn stared at the offered candy. A laugh bubbled up through her tears, not cruel or dismissive, but genuine surprise. She accepted the candy cane with the reverence usually reserved for signing billion-dollar contracts. "Thank you. I haven't had one of these in years." "You should eat it now," Lily advised seriously, "before it gets more sticky." This time Evelyn's laugh was fuller, warmer. She unwrapped the candy and took a small bite, tears still wet on her cheeks, but something lighter in her eyes. "I'm Evelyn Whitmore." She extended her hand to Daniel, CEO mode partially restored. "Though you already knew that." Daniel Harper. His handshake was firm, calloused. "This is Lily." "Hi." Lily waved enthusiastically. Are you really as rich as everyone says? Lily. But Evelyn smiled. Probably richer. And yet your candy cane is the nicest gift I've received all year. She studied Daniel, taking in his worn jacket, the careful patches on Lily's mittens, the proud set of his shoulders despite everything. You said you work maintenance? Among other things. My headquarters building needs temporary maintenance staff. The holidays, people taking vacation. The words tumbled out quickly, as if she might lose nerve. I could use someone who shows up and does honest work. Daniel's expression didn't change. That's kind of you, but it's not kindness. It's business. Good workers are hard to find. Miss Whitmore, I appreciate the offer, but I don't need charity. Did I say charity? Steel crept back into her voice. I said I need maintenance staff. Unless you think I go around offering jobs to every person I meet in plazas. Do you? The question hung between them. Evelyn could have taken offense, but something in Daniel's steady gaze, not challenging, just honest, made her consider. No, but I recognize quality when I see it. The way you spoke to your daughter, the way you... She paused, searching for words. The way you treated me like a person, not a walking bank account or a news story. That tells me something about your character. Daniel glanced down at Lily, who was watching with bright interest. December rent was overdue. January would be here soon. His back had been aching more lately, making roof work harder. What would it pay? Evelyn named a figure. Daniel kept his face neutral, but Lily gasped. That's a lot of dollars. It's standard rate for the position, Evelyn said, though they both knew it was on the generous end of standard. Temporary, you said? Through the holidays. Could extend depending on performance. Daniel knew he should walk away. People like Evelyn Whitmore didn't really see people like him. This was probably some rich person's whim, a story she'd tell at cocktail parties about helping the less fortunate. But Lily needed new shoes. The heating bill was climbing, and something in Evelyn's eyes, a loneliness that matched his own, made him hesitate. All right. When do I start? Monday, 7 a.m. Ask for Mr. Patterson in maintenance. She pulled out her phone, typed quickly. What's your number? I'll have HR send the details. Daniel gave it, still feeling like he'd stepped into someone else's life. Daddy's going to work in a skyscraper. Lily bounced on her toes. Can I visit? We'll see, Daniel said automatically. Of course you can visit, Evelyn countered, surprising them both. I mean, within reason, security and all that. An awkward silence fell. In the distance, carolers started Silent Night. I should go. Evelyn touched the candy cane in her pocket. Thank you. Both of you. She walked toward the street where a black town car waited, engine running. The driver jumped out to open her door, but she paused before getting in. Mr. Harper? Yes? That thing you said about strength and kindness. Did you mean it? Daniel met her gaze across the holiday crowd. Every word. She nodded once and disappeared into the car. The tinted windows revealed nothing as it pulled into traffic. She seemed nice, Lily said, taking Daniel's hand. Sad, but nice. Yeah, baby, she did. They walked home through the festive streets, Lily chattering about the lights and the encounter, but Daniel's mind churned. What had just happened? Why had she really offered him that job? In her warm apartment, Lily would later ask if the sad lady would be okay. Daniel would say he hoped so. Neither of them could know that their small act of kindness had cracked something open in Evelyn Whitmore's carefully controlled world, something that wouldn't easily close again. Monday morning arrived gray and cold. Daniel stood before his bathroom mirror, adjusting the collar of his cleanest work shirt for the third time. His hands wouldn't stop fidgeting. You look nice, Daddy. Lily appeared in the doorway, already dressed in her school uniform. Thanks, baby. He turned to help her with her backpack. Remember, Grandma Ruth's picking you up after school today. I know. She said we could visit you at lunch if we're nearby. Daniel paused. The building's pretty far from... She said we'd see. Lily grinned mysteriously. 20 minutes later, after dropping Lily at school, Daniel stood at the base of the Whitmore Industries Tower. 47 floors of gleaming glass and steel pierced the morning clouds. His work boots felt wrong against the polished marble lobby floor. "You Harper?" a gravelly voice called out. Daniel turned to find a stocky man in maintenance blues. "Yes, sir." "Patterson, follow me." They rode the service elevator down to the basement levels. Patterson handed him a key card and uniform without ceremony. "Boss says you're temporary. Fine by me, we're short-handed anyway. Today you're checking air filters on floors 15 through 20. Tomorrow, replacing light fixtures in the parking garage." "Understood," Patterson grunted. "Lunch is noon to 12:30. Don't be late coming back." The morning crawled by. Office workers averted their eyes when Daniel entered their spaces. Some moved their expensive bags closer when he passed. On floor 17, he overheard two women by the coffee machine. "That's him," one whispered. "The janitor, Ms." Whitmore picked up off the street. "She's finally lost it. First the crying in public, now this." Daniel kept working, checking each filter methodically. His father had taught him long ago, do the job right, no matter who's watching or what they're saying. Around 10:30, elevator doors opened to reveal Evelyn herself. The entire floor went quiet. "Mr. Harper." Her voice carried that same controlled tone from the plaza. "How are you settling in?" "Fine, ma'am. Mr. Patterson's been clear about expectations." She scanned his work cart, the neat arrangement of tools and supplies. "Good. I trust you'll find everything you need. If not, inform Patterson directly." "Yes, ma'am." She started to leave, then paused. "The 15th floor has been complaining about temperature regulation. When you're done with filters, could you check their thermostats?" "Of course." She nodded and swept away, leaving whispers in her wake. At noon, Daniel was replacing a thermostat when his phone buzzed. Ruth's text read, "Surprise inspection. Meet us in the lobby." Confused, Daniel took the service elevator down. There in the pristine lobby stood Ruth, a soft-spoken woman in her 60s, with Lily bouncing beside her. "Daddy," Lily ran over, "Grandma Ruth had an appointment nearby, so we came to see your new job." Ruth smiled apologetically. "Her teacher mentioned she couldn't stop talking about your new building. I thought a quick visit might help her concentrate this afternoon." Before Daniel could respond, Lily was already examining everything. "It's so shiny. And look how high the ceiling goes." "Mr. Harper?" A security guard approached. "Is there a problem?" "No, this is my daughter, and—" "Lily?" Evelyn's voice cut through the lobby. She'd been heading out for lunch when she spotted the red coat. "What are you doing here?" "Miss Whitmore," Lily waved enthusiastically. "We came to see Daddy's new work." "This is my Grandma Ruth." Ruth extended her hand carefully. "Ruth Morrison, thank you for giving Daniel this opportunity." Evelyn shook it, something flickering in her expression. "He earned it." "Can we see where Daddy fixes things?" Lily asked. Miss Whitmore is busy," Daniel started. "Actually," Evelyn interrupted, "I was just heading to lunch. The executive break room has better views than the lobby. 15th floor." Daniel blinked. "Ma'am, I don't think—" "It's my building, Mr. Harper. I think I can authorize one small visitor." The break room was another world. Floor-to-ceiling windows, designer furniture, an espresso machine that probably cost more than Daniel's truck. Lily pressed her nose against the glass, mesmerized by the city below. "It's like being in the clouds." Ruth and Daniel sat uncomfortably on the pristine leather chairs while Evelyn watched Lily explore. "Do you work all day in rooms like this?" Lily asked Evelyn. "Most days, yes." "Do you have kids who visit you?" The room temperature seemed to drop. Evelyn's spine straightened. That's... She cleared her throat. "Not anymore." Lily tilted her head. "Did they grow up?" Something like that. Evelyn's voice was barely audible. She stood abruptly. I should return to my office. Enjoy the view. She left quickly, her heels clicking sharply on the marble. Did I say something wrong? Lily asked, worried. No, sweetheart, Ruth said gently. Some questions just catch people off guard. That evening, over spaghetti and frozen garlic bread, Lily recounted every detail of the building to Daniel. But Ms. Whitmore got sad when I asked about kids, like at the plaza. Daniel set down his fork. People carry all kinds of hurt, baby. Sometimes asking normal questions touches those tender spots. She's not mean like everyone says. No, Daniel agreed, thinking of Evelyn's quick exit, the pain that had flashed across her face. She's not. Miles away, in a penthouse that cost more than Daniel would earn in 10 lifetimes, Evelyn stood at her window. The city sparkled below, but her eyes were on the framed photo in her hands. A boy, 16, laughing at something off camera, 3 years gone now. Not anymore, she whispered to the empty room. A tear traced down her cheek, followed by another. This time, she didn't wipe them away. The rest of the week passed in a blur of fixed faucets, adjusted thermostats, and replaced light bulbs. Daniel arrived early each morning, toolbox in hand, working through his list with methodical precision. On Tuesday, he repaired the executive conference room's flickering projector screen that had been annoying board members for weeks. Wednesday, he fixed the perpetually jammed printer on the accounting floor that IT had given up on. How'd you know it was the roller alignment? Asked Marcus from accounting, watching the pages flow smoothly for the first time in months. Daniel shrugged. Same problem my daughter's school printer had. Sometimes the simple fix is the right one. Word spread. By Thursday, employees were flagging him down in hallways with requests. Unlike the previous maintenance staff who'd grumbled about not my job, Daniel listened patiently, made notes, and handled what he could. That new guy actually fixed the coffee machine, someone whispered in the break room, and cleaned the microwave without being asked, another added. Friday morning, Evelyn walked past the marketing department just as Daniel was explaining to a young intern how to unjam the copier herself next time. See this green lever? Just lift and slide. Saves you waiting for maintenance. The intern beamed. Thanks, Mr. Harper. Evelyn paused in the doorway. Mr. Harper's teaching you to put him out of a job? The intern froze, but Daniel just smiled. Way I see it, ma'am, if folks can handle the small stuff, I can focus on the real problems. Efficient. She studied him. The facilities report says you've cleared 3 weeks of backlogged repairs in 5 days. Just doing what needs doing. Indeed, she addressed the intern. Mr. Boo, Harper's right. Self-sufficiency is valuable. Then to Daniel. Carry on. After she left, the intern exhaled. She's never talked to me before. She knew you by name. Daniel returned to his tools, uncomfortable with the attention. That afternoon, Ruth called with a problem. Her doctor's appointment was running late, and the school had early dismissal. Bring her here, Daniel said. I'll keep her in the break room. Are you sure that's okay? Bleh. Daniel thought of Evelyn's previous permission. It'll be fine. But when Lily arrived, bouncing with energy, the break room felt too confining. Daniel was investigating a ventilation issue in Evelyn's office when Lily spotted the open door. Is this Miss Whitmore's office? Before Daniel could stop her, she darted inside. Evelyn looked up from her computer. Lily? Hi, Daddy's fixing your air thing. Can I sit here? She pointed to a leather chair in the corner. Lily, no, Daniel started. It's fine. Evelyn's voice was oddly soft. If she can stay quiet. I brought my coloring. Lily produced a battered coloring book and crayons from her backpack. For 20 minutes, the only sounds were Daniel's tools, Evelyn's typing, and Lily's careful coloring. Then Lily started humming, the same tune her mother used to sing. What's that song? Evelyn asked. Mommy's favorite, Amazing Grace. She's in heaven now. Evelyn's fingers stilled on the keyboard. I'm sorry. It's okay. Daddy says she's not really gone because we carry her in our hearts. Lily looked up. Do you have someone in heaven? The question hung in the air. Daniel stopped working, ready to redirect his daughter, but Evelyn slowly turned her chair. On her desk sat a silver frame, angled away from visitors. Yes, she whispered, my son. Lily abandoned her coloring and approached the desk, studying the photo with serious eyes. He has your smile. His name was James. The words seemed pulled from somewhere deep. He was 16. What happened? Lily, Daniel warned. Car accident, 3 years ago. Evelyn's voice cracked slightly. 3 years, 2 months, and 5 days. Lily reached across the massive desk and patted Evelyn's hand with her small one. You're counting the days. Daddy did that too, after Mommy. Evelyn stared at their joined hands. A tear escaped, sliding down her carefully made-up face. It's okay to cry, Lily said matter-of-factly. Daddy says it means your heart is remembering. Another tear followed the first. Evelyn didn't pull her hand away. Your daddy sounds wise. He is. He fixes everything. Lily returned to her coloring as if she hadn't just cracked open Evelyn's armor. Even hearts, sometimes. Daniel finished the repair in silence, ushering Lily out with a quiet goodbye. Evelyn remained at her desk, staring at James's photo, her hand still warm from Lily's touch. At 6:30, Evelyn finally left her office. The executive floor was nearly empty, but voices drifted from the conference room. Can you believe she hired a janitor? Richard Blackwood's voice dripped disdain. What's next, promoting the security guard to CFO? He's got no degree, no experience, Margaret Stiles added. He's nobody. She's getting soft. First this charity nonsense she keeps hinting at, now befriending the help. Maybe it's time the board reviewed her judgment, Richard suggested, before she damages our reputation. Evelyn stood frozen outside the door. She should march in, put them in their place. But something held her back. The image of Lily's small hand on hers, Daniel's quiet dignity, the way employees had started smiling more this week. She walked away without a word. At home, Evelyn poured wine she didn't drink and stared at the city lights. On her coffee table lay 2 things, the company's quarterly report showing record profits and a crayon drawing Lily had left behind, a rainbow with for Ms. Evelyn written in shaky letters. Trust them and risk everything she'd built, or protect her empire and let them go. The decision that would define everything waited in the silence. Daniel arrived early the next morning, toolbox in hand. The security guard nodded instead of scrutinizing his ID. Small progress. Morning, Daniel. A woman from accounting passed with her coffee. Yesterday she'd walked by without acknowledgement. In the elevator, 2 junior executives continued their conversation without lowering their voices when he entered. Another tiny shift. He was checking the thermostat on the 15th floor when his phone buzzed. Evelyn's assistant. Miss, Whitmore would like to see you in her office. Daniel found Evelyn behind her desk, studying a facilities report. She looked up, gesturing to the chair across from her. Your efficiency ratings are excellent. Maintenance requests down 30% this week alone. Just doing my job, ma'am. Stop calling me ma'am. Makes me feel ancient. She set down the report. The staff seemed to respond to you. I treat them how I'd want to be treated. Simple as that. Usually is. She leaned back, fingers steepled. How do you do it? Work here, your other job, raise Lily alone? Most people would crack. Daniel shifted, uncomfortable with the personal turn. You just do what needs doing. But surely it's overwhelming, being everything to her. Her mother... Daniel paused, then continued. Sarah used to say that love multiplies when you give it away. Never really understood that until she was gone. Now I see it in Lily every day. The more love I pour into her, the more comes back. Evelyn's expression flickered. Sarah sounds remarkable. She was. Used to leave notes in my lunch. Little drawings in Lily's backpack made ordinary things feel special. Daniel stood. If that's all? Yes, thank you. But as he reached the door, she called out, Daniel? Does Lily ever ask about having a mother again? He turned slowly. She asks if I get lonely sometimes. I tell her we've got each other. And that's enough? It has to be. The afternoon brought chaos. A burst pipe on the 10th floor. Daniel worked through lunch, soaked and exhausted by the time he contained the damage. He was wringing out his shirt in the utility closet when Lily's voice echoed down the hall. Daddy! Daddy! Where are you? She burst into Evelyn's office before anyone could stop her, backpack bouncing, face flushed with excitement. Lily, I'm not... Evelyn started. Look what I made. Lily thrust a piece of construction paper at her. It's us. Evelyn stared at the drawing. 3 stick figures stood beneath a lopsided Christmas tree. A tall woman with yellow hair labeled Miss. Evelyn, a man with tools labeled Daddy, and a small girl between them labeled Me. They were all holding hands. That's very nice. You're smiling in it. See, and we're having Christmas together because nobody should be alone on Christmas. Evelyn's smile became fixed, artificial. How thoughtful. Can I put it on your desk, next to the picture of James? The name hit like cold water. Evelyn retreated behind her desk. I need to make some calls now. Lily's face fell. Did I say something wrong? No, sweetie. Daniel appeared in the doorway, damp and disheveled. Miss Whitmore's just busy. Come on. He scooped up his daughter, her drawing fluttering to the floor. Evelyn didn't pick it up. At home, Daniel heated leftover spaghetti while Lily set the table with unusual quiet. Miss Evelyn didn't like my picture. I'm sure she did. She's just not used to gifts like that. She's lonely, Daddy. Daniel served the pasta, avoiding her eyes. What makes you say that? She has that look, like Mrs. Chen did after Mr. Chen went to heaven. Remember how we brought her cookies? That was different. Why, Daniel struggled for an answer. Miss Whitmore has lots of friends, important people, but nobody to hold hands with. Lily twirled her fork thoughtfully. In my picture, we're all holding hands. That's what makes it special. Eat your dinner. Maybe we should invite her for Christmas dinner. Lily ... She probably eats alone in that big house. That's sad. Daniel set down his fork. His daughter's eyes were earnest, concerned, the same expression Sarah wore when she'd spot someone needing help. We can't just invite our boss to dinner. Why not? Because it's complicated. You always say the right thing is usually simple. He had no answer for that. Later, after tucking Lily in, Daniel sat at the kitchen table paying bills. The drawing Lily made for school lay beside him. Another family portrait, this one including halos over her mother and James. In it, they were all together, earth and heaven, connected by crayon rainbows. Was Lily right? Was Evelyn as lonely as she seemed? He thought of her face when Lily mentioned James, the way she'd pulled back, rebuilt her walls in seconds. Some wounds ran too deep for simple kindness to heal. Or did they? By Monday, Daniel found himself handling more than maintenance. When a delivery crew argued with the loading dock supervisor, Evelyn sent Daniel to mediate. He listened to both sides, then suggested a rotation schedule that gave everyone fair hours. The supervisor, shocked that someone in management actually understood their work, implemented it immediately. Harper sorted out that mess downstairs, an executive mentioned during Evelyn's morning briefing. The drivers were ready to walk. Evelyn nodded, unsurprised. He has a gift for seeing solutions others miss. Wednesday brought another test. 2 administrative assistants feuded over desk assignments, their conflict disrupting the entire floor. Evelyn watched from her office doorway as Daniel approached them. "Ladies, help me understand something," he said, pulling up a chair between their desks. "What's really going on here?" Within minutes, he'd uncovered the real issue. One woman's mother was ill, requiring constant phone calls, while the other needed quiet to focus on deadline work. Daniel suggested they stagger their schedules, one taking mornings, the other afternoons. Both women agreed, tears of relief replacing anger. "Where'd you learn to do that?" asked Marcus from accounting. Daniel shrugged. "Construction sites. You learn quick that most fights aren't about what people say they're about." Thursday afternoon, Evelyn summoned him to her office. "There's a charity dinner tomorrow night. Small event, but important donors. I'd like you and Lily to attend." "That's not really our—" "I insist. The foundation supports working families. You'd be authentic representation." Daniel recognized the command beneath the invitation. "Lily has school in the morning. We'll have you home by 9. At home, Daniel broke the news to Lily over dinner. "A fancy party? With Miss Evelyn?" Her eyes sparkled. "Can I wear my Easter dress?" "The purple one with the flowers?" "Sure, sweetheart." "Will there be other kids?" "Probably not." "That's okay. I'll talk to the grown-ups." Daniel's stomach knotted. Lily talking to wealthy donors? What could go wrong? Friday evening arrived too quickly. Daniel's only suit, bought for Sarah's funeral, still fit, but looked exactly what it was, 5 years old and department store quality. Lily twirled in her purple dress, delighted with the matching hair ribbon he'd managed. "Do I look pretty, Daddy?" "Beautiful. Just like Mommy." The hotel ballroom intimidated with its crystal chandeliers and white-clothed tables. Executives in designer suits mingled with women draped in jewelry worth more than Daniel made in a year. Several heads turned as they entered, expressions ranging from surprise to disdain. "Is that the janitor?" someone whispered. "Evelyn's latest project," another replied. "Charity case." Lily gripped Daniel's hand tighter. "They're staring." "Hold your head high, baby. We belong here same as anyone." They found their table, mercifully near the back, but within minutes Richard Blackstone, a senior board member, approached. "Harper, isn't it? Surprised to see you here." His smile was all teeth, no warmth. "These events have a certain standard. Miss Whitmore invited us." "How generous of her." Richard's gaze swept over Daniel's suit, Lily's dress. "Though perhaps next time the invitation will include guidance on appropriate attire." Lily's face reddened. Daniel's jaw clenched. The invitation said cocktail attire. A crisp voice interrupted. Evelyn appeared, resplendent in navy silk. Daniel and Lily looked perfectly appropriate, unlike some people's manners. Richard's smile faltered. "Evelyn, I simply meant—" "I know exactly what you meant." She placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. "This young lady brings more grace to this event than half the people here, and her father has done more for this company in 2 weeks than you've done in 2 years." The room had gone quiet, everyone watching. "In fact," Evelyn continued, her voice carrying, "Daniel Harper represents exactly what our foundation claims to support: honest work, family values, and dignity, regardless of circumstance. If anyone has a problem with their presence, they're welcome to leave." Richard retreated, face burning. Conversation slowly resumed, but the atmosphere had shifted. "You didn't have to do that," Daniel murmured. "Yes, I did." Evelyn knelt to Lily's level. "That's a beautiful dress. Purple's my favorite color." "Really?" "Mine too." Through dinner, Evelyn kept them close, introducing them to donors, praising Daniel's work. Lily charmed everyone with her questions about their jobs, their families. Even the snootiest executives softened when she asked about their children. As they prepared to leave, Evelyn offered to drive them home. In her Mercedes, the atmosphere lightened. Lily sang along to radio Christmas carols. Daniel caught Evelyn smiling in the rearview mirror. "Your daughter has a gift," she said. "She sees the best in people. Gets that from her mother. And her father." They pulled up to Daniel's apartment building. As he helped Lily out, She suddenly darted back to Evelyn's window. "Thank you for inviting us, and for being nice when that mean man wasn't." Before Evelyn could respond, Lily reached through the window and hugged her awkwardly. Evelyn froze, arms hovering, then slowly, carefully, returned the embrace. "You give the best hugs," Lily declared, pulling back. "Good night, miss. Evelyn." She skipped toward the building. Daniel lingered, watching Evelyn's glassy eyes. "She doesn't hug just anyone," he said quietly. Evelyn nodded, unable to speak, and drove away quickly. But Daniel saw her wiping her face at the corner stop sign. Saturday morning brought unexpected knocking. Daniel, still in sweatpants and an old Marines t-shirt, opened the door to find Evelyn Whitmore on his doorstep, looking supremely out of place in her cashmere coat and designer boots. "Miss Whitmore, I wanted to check how you were after last night's unpleasantness." "We're fine. But you didn't need to come all this way. May I come in?" Daniel hesitated, acutely aware of the laundry basket in the hallway, the dishes in the sink. "Place isn't much." "I'm not here to judge." He stepped aside. Evelyn entered the cramped apartment, her trained eye cataloging everything: water stain on the ceiling, patched couch, mismatched furniture. But other details caught her attention: Lily's artwork covering the refrigerator, a wall of framed photographs, books everywhere, despite the lack of proper shelving. "Miss Evelyn!" Lily bounded from her room, still in pajamas decorated with unicorns. "You came to visit?" "Hello, sweetheart. Want to see my room? I cleaned it myself." Before Evelyn could respond, Lily grabbed her hand, pulling her down the narrow hallway. The tiny bedroom burst with color: hand-drawn pictures taped to every wall, stuffed animals arranged carefully on the bed, a small desk where homework competed with crayons. "That's you." Lily pointed to a drawing of 3 figures holding hands. "And that's Daddy, and that's me. I made it after the party." Evelyn's throat tightened. In the drawing, she stood between them, smiling. "Would you like to stay for lunch?" Daniel called from the kitchen. "Nothing fancy, just stew." "Please stay," Lily bounced. "Daddy makes the best stew. He puts carrots in it shaped like stars." Evelyn found herself nodding. She followed them to the kitchen, watching Daniel work with practiced efficiency, stretching ingredients to feed an unexpected guest. Lily set the table with mismatched plates, chattering about her teacher, her best friend Maya, the cat that sometimes visited their fire escape. The stew was simple: beef, vegetables, potatoes, but filling. They ate at the small table, Lily insisting Evelyn sit in Mommy's chair, which Daniel explained they'd kept even after Sarah passed. "We don't use it usually," Lily said solemnly, "but you're special." After lunch, Lily tugged Evelyn to the couch. "Saturday is reading day." "Every Saturday?" "Since she was 3, Daniel confirmed, washing dishes. "Sarah started it. We kept going." "What are you reading?" Lily retrieved a worn copy of Charlotte's Web. "We're at the sad part, but Daddy does voices that make it less sad." "Would you like to stay?" Daniel asked carefully. "You don't have to." Evelyn knew she should leave, had calls to return, emails to answer. Instead, she sank into the couch's worn cushions. "If you don't mind." Daniel settled on Lily's other side, opened the book. His voice, deep and steady, brought the story alive. He gave Charlotte a gentle wisdom, Wilbur innocent worry, Templeton comedic greed. Lily provided sound effects: barn noises, wind, the crowd at the fair. Gradually, Lily shifted, her small body gravitating toward Evelyn until she was half leaning against her. Evelyn held perfectly still, afraid to break whatever spell had settled over the room. When Lily's head dropped onto her shoulder, Evelyn's breath caught. "She's comfortable with you," Daniel said quietly, not looking up from the page. They read for an hour, until Lily's eyes grew heavy. Daniel carried her to bed while Evelyn waited, studying the photographs on the wall. Daniel and a beautiful woman on their wedding day. Baby Lily in a hospital blanket. Birthday parties, Christmas mornings, ordinary moments made precious by their framing. "That's Sarah," Daniel said, returning. "Lily looks just like her." She was lovely. Inside and out. Never met a stranger, that woman. Lily got that from her, too. "How do you do it? Alone?" Daniel shrugged. "You just do. One day, then another. Some days are harder, but Lily needs me whole, not broken." "I broke," Evelyn admitted, "when Thomas died. My son, he was 12. I'm sorry. My husband blamed me. Said I worked too much, wasn't there enough. Maybe he was right." She touched a photo of Lily at a playground. "I threw myself deeper into work after the divorce. Built an empire but lost this. It's not too late, isn't it?" "Lily drew you in our family picture. That means something." Evelyn stood abruptly. "I should go." Daniel walked her to the door. "You're welcome any time. Lily would love it. And you?" "Doors open." The drive home felt endless. Evelyn's penthouse, all marble and glass, echoed with emptiness. No drawings on the refrigerator, no mismatched plates, no one reading stories in funny voices. She stood before Thomas's photograph, the only personal item in her sterile living room. He smiled back, frozen at 12, forever young. "I met a little girl," she whispered. "She has your kindness, your way of seeing through people's armor." Tears came freely now. "I miss you so much." "Every day, but today I remembered what it felt like, to be needed, to be chosen." She thought of Lily's weight against her shoulder, Daniel's steady voice, the warmth of their cramped kitchen. "They're bringing me back to life, Thomas. I'm terrified, but I think you would have loved them." Monday morning arrived differently. Evelyn called Daniel to the executive conference room where department heads gathered around the polished table. "Mr. Harper, I'd like your input on our new community housing project." The executives exchanged glances. Daniel stood at the edge of the room, work boots stark against the plush carpet. "I'm just maintenance, Ms. Whitmore. You live in the neighborhoods we're discussing. Your perspective matters." The project manager launched into a presentation about profit margins and density maximization. Daniel listened, his face thoughtful. "What's your assessment?" Evelyn asked when the manager finished. Daniel shifted. "You want honest?" "Always. These floor plans. You're cramming families into boxes. No room for kids to play, no community spaces. You'll make money, sure, but you'll build resentment, not homes." The project manager bristled. "We've maximized efficiency based on extensive market research." Have you asked anyone who actually lives in these neighborhoods?" Daniel interrupted gently. "Single mothers need safe play areas where kids can be watched from kitchen windows. Elderly residents need ground floor access. Families need storage for bikes, strollers. That cuts into profit." "Does it?" Daniel pulled out a pencil, sketched on spare paper. "What if you reduced units by 10% but added a central courtyard? Shared garden space? Kids play safe. Neighbors watch out for each other. You charge slightly more for quality of life. People stay longer, less turnover, steadier income." Evelyn studied his rough sketch. "Continue." Over the next hour, Daniel transformed their sterile project into something human. He suggested job training programs for residents, partnering with local schools, adding small business spaces at street level. "You're building anyway," he reasoned. "Why not build something that lifts people up?" Wednesday found Daniel in Evelyn's office again, reviewing employee benefit packages. "This health insurance," he pointed out, "the deductible's higher than most staff can afford. It's industry standard. For executives, maybe. But your cleaning crew, security guards, entry-level workers, they're choosing between doctor visits and groceries." Evelyn pulled up the numbers. The adjustment would cost millions. "What about partial coverage increases based on tenure?" Daniel suggested. "Reward loyalty. People work harder when they feel valued." She implemented it that week. The response was immediate. Productivity increased, sick days decreased, and for the first time in years, employees smiled when they saw her in the hallways. Thursday afternoon, Lily burst into Evelyn's office after school waving a bright yellow paper. "Miss Evelyn, my winter pageant is tomorrow. Will you come?" Evelyn glanced at her calendar. 3 meetings, a conference call with Tokyo. "Please?" Lily's eyes were huge. "I'm singing a solo. Daddy will be there, but it would be special if you came too." Daniel appeared in the doorway. "Lily, Miss Whitmore is busy." "I'll rearrange my schedule," Evelyn heard herself say. Friday at 2 p.m., Evelyn slipped into the elementary school auditorium. The contrast to her usual venues was jarring. Construction paper snowflakes, folding chairs, the smell of juice boxes, and excitement. She chose a seat in the back corner, hoping to remain invisible. The pageant was chaotic perfection. Kindergartners forgot their lines, a shepherd's beard fell off, someone's little brother cried through silent night. But when Lily stepped forward for her solo, wearing a slightly crooked angel halo, the auditorium quieted. Her voice, clear and sweet, filled the space. She sang about peace and joy, about families coming together, about love being the greatest gift. Halfway through, her eyes found Evelyn in the back row. Lily's face transformed, her smile radiant. She waved enthusiastically, nearly dropping her tinsel-covered wand. Some parents chuckled. Daniel turned, following Lily's gaze, and his expression softened when he spotted Evelyn. She waved back, a small gesture that felt monumental. After the pageant, Lily dragged both adults to see her classroom, introducing Evelyn as "my daddy's boss and my special friend" to anyone who would listen. Her teacher pulled Daniel aside, mentioning how happy Lily seemed lately. "She's been different these past weeks, more confident. Whatever you're doing, keep it up." In the parking lot, Daniel buckled Lily into Evelyn's back seat. She'd insisted on driving them home. "Thank you for coming," he said quietly. It meant everything to her. To her? To both of us. The drive home filled with Lily's chatter about costumes and forgotten lines and how Maya's halo fell off during the finale. Evelyn found herself laughing, really laughing, at Lily's animated retelling. "Did you see when Timothy sneezed during Away in a Manger? His sheep ears flew off." "I did see that." "And when the star fell, Mr. Jackson had to hold it up with a broom." "Very resourceful." "Miss Evelyn," Lily's voice grew serious, "did your son do pageants?" The question should have stung. Instead, Evelyn smiled. "He did. He played a wise man once. Dropped the frankincense." "What's frankincense?" "Nobody really knows." Lily giggled. Daniel caught Evelyn's eye in the rearview mirror, gratitude evident in his expression. That night, alone in her penthouse, Evelyn stood at her floor-to-ceiling windows. The city sparkled below, her empire, built on ambition and sacrifice. But now she saw what was missing in those lights: classrooms with paper snowflakes, kitchens with star-shaped carrots, small hands waving from stages. She'd spent decades building wealth. Daniel and Lily were showing her how to build worth. Her phone buzzed. The Tokyo call. She let it go to voicemail. The grand ballroom at the Whitmore Plaza gleamed with crystal and ambition. A week after the school pageant, Evelyn's annual investor gala drew the city's elite, CEOs, senators, old money mingling with new tech fortunes. Daniel adjusted his borrowed tie in the service elevator, Lily bouncing beside him in her best dress. A purple number from Target that she'd insisted made her look like a princess. "Remember what we talked about?" Daniel reminded her. "Best behavior." Small voice, "Stay close." "I know, Daddy. I'll be perfect." They entered through the staff entrance, Daniel's name on the employee list. The opulence hit like a physical force. Ice sculptures, orchids flown in from Thailand, champagne that cost more per bottle than Daniel made in a day. Lily's eyes went wide. "It's like a castle." Several executives noticed them immediately. Richard Haverton, Evelyn's chief rival on the board, sneered into his martini. She actually brought the janitor and his child. His companion, a hedge fund manager named Patricia Wells, laughed coldly. Evelyn's lost her mind. First, she's restructuring benefits, now this. Next, she'll be hosting food drives in the boardroom. Daniel kept Lily close, aware of the stares. Some curious, some dismissive, a few openly hostile. He was explaining the ice sculpture to Lily when Evelyn appeared. She wore midnight blue, diamonds at her throat, every inch the billionaire. But her smile, when she saw them, was genuine. "Lily, you look beautiful." "Like a princess?" "Better. Like yourself." The crowd watched this interaction with barely concealed shock. Evelyn Whitmore, kneeling to speak to a child, her designer dress pooling on the floor. "Ladies and gentlemen," Evelyn's assistant announced, "Miss..." Whitmore will now address the room. Evelyn took the stage, the crowd falling silent. These speeches usually involved profit projections, market expansions, victories over competitors. Tonight felt different. "For 30 years, Evelyn began, I've built an empire on one principle, strength. I believed compassion was weakness, that success meant standing alone at the top." Uncomfortable shifting in the audience. "I was wrong." The silence sharpened. "Recently, 2 people entered my life unexpectedly. A maintenance worker and his 7-year-old daughter. They've taught me something my MBA never did, that true strength comes from lifting others, not climbing over them." She found Daniel in the crowd, his hand on Lily's shoulder. Daniel Harper sees solutions where others see problems. He treats every person with dignity, from board members to night janitors. His daughter Lily asks questions that cut through years of corporate armor. "They've reminded me why we build, not for stock prices, but for people." Haverton's face darkened. Patricia Wells whispered furiously to another board member, "Tonight, I'm announcing the Whitmore Family Foundation, a comprehensive initiative to support working families with childcare, job training, and emergency assistance. We'll start with our own employees and expand citywide." Scattered applause, some enthusiastic, some obligatory. This isn't charity, it's investment in community, in dignity, in the belief that everyone deserves a chance to build something better. When the music resumed, Lily tugged Evelyn's hand. "Will you dance with me?" The request was innocent, oblivious to protocol. Evelyn should have deflected, maintained professional distance. Instead, she let Lily lead her onto the floor. They danced to something classical, Lily standing on Evelyn's shoes, giggling as they spun. Evelyn laughed, not her practiced social laugh, but something real and unguarded. Daniel watched from the edge, his smile quiet but deep. Cameras flashed, not official event photographers, but phones, gossip columnists who'd infiltrated the guest list. "This is fun," Lily declared, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "Yes," Evelyn agreed, meaning it. "It is." Haverton approached Daniel during the dance. "Quite the show your daughter's putting on." "She's just being herself." "And you? What's your angle here?" Daniel met his stare evenly. "No angle, just work. Men like you always have angles. How much will it take to make you disappear?" "I don't want your money." "Everyone wants money." "Then I guess I'm not everyone." Haverton's smile was sharp as winter. "We'll see about that." The next morning, Daniel's phone buzzed with text from concerned friends. The newspapers were brutal. "Billionaire's Bizarre Breakdown," screamed one headline. The article featured photos from the gala. Evelyn dancing with Lily, kneeling in her designer dress, laughing with an unnamed janitor. The gossip columns were worse. Speculation about an inappropriate relationship, suggestions that Daniel was exploiting a clearly unstable woman, questions about Evelyn's mental fitness to run a corporation. By noon, Evelyn sat in an emergency board meeting, 12 faces, all disapproving. "This ends now," Haverton demanded. "Your little social experiment is tanking our stock price." "The foundation is already approved." "The foundation can stay. The janitor goes." Today. You can't. Read your contract, Evelyn. The board can remove a CEO who brings disrepute to the company. These headlines? This qualifies. Patricia Wells slid a tablet across the table. More articles, worse insinuations. Fire him or we vote you out. Simple. An hour later, Evelyn called Daniel to her office. Lily had come along, planning to show Evelyn her new library book. Daniel. Evelyn's voice was steady, her face stone. Your services are no longer required. The words hung in the air like shattered glass. I don't understand. It's effective immediately. Security will escort you out. Lily's book fell to the floor. Miss Evelyn? This is a business decision. Daniel studied her face, saw the tremor in her clenched jaw, the white knuckles hidden behind her desk. I see. Daddy? Lily's voice broke. Why is Ms. Evelyn being mean? She's not being mean, sweetheart. She's being who she has to be. Lily burst into tears, raw sobs that filled the office. But we're friends. You said we're friends. Evelyn turned her back, facing the window. In the reflection, Daniel saw her hands shaking. Come on, Lily. He lifted his daughter, her face buried in his shoulder, her tears soaking his collar. At the door he paused. I'm sorry, Evelyn. She didn't turn, couldn't. The door closed with devastating softness. The apartment door clicked shut behind them with finality. Daniel set Lily down gently, her small frame still shaking with confused sobs. The familiar space, their kitchen table with its wobbly leg, the fridge covered in Lily's drawings, the couch with the faded cushions, felt different now, colder somehow, despite the afternoon sun streaming through thin curtains. Lily stood in the middle of the living room, fists clenched at her sides. She was mean. She was so mean, Daddy. Daniel hung his jacket on the hook by the door, his movement slow and deliberate. The anger in his daughter's voice cut deeper than Evelyn's dismissal. Why did she do that? We were friends. She came to my pageant. She read stories with us. She danced with me. Fresh tears spilled down Lily's cheeks. Daniel moved to the couch, patting the spot beside him. She didn't move. I hate her. No, sweetheart. You don't? I do. She hurt you. She hurt us. Daniel waited, letting her anger burn itself out like a matchstick. When her shoulders began to droop, he opened his arms. She collapsed into them, her rage dissolving back into hurt. Why, Daddy? Why would she be so mean after being so nice? Daniel stroked her hair, searching for words a 7-year-old could grasp. You know how sometimes you get scared of the dark, even though you know there's nothing there? A small nod against his chest. Grown-ups get scared too, but not of the dark. We get scared of other things, of looking weak, of losing what we've built, of getting hurt. But we wouldn't hurt her. I know that. You know that. But fear makes people forget what they know. Lily pulled back, her face blotchy and confused. So she fired you because she was scared? I think so. Scared of what? Daniel considered his answer. Maybe scared of caring too much. Sometimes when people have been hurt before, they push others away before it can happen again. That's stupid. It's human. They sat quietly for a moment. Outside, a siren wailed in the distance. Will she come back? Will she say sorry? I don't know, sweetheart. I miss her already. The admission was whispered, almost guilty. Daniel pulled her close again. I know. That evening, their routine felt like walking through mud, homework at the kitchen table, but Lily's heart wasn't in it. Dinner, leftover soup reheated on the stove, eaten mostly in silence. Bath time without the usual splash fights. When Daniel tucked her into bed, Lily stared at the ceiling. Daddy, can I pray for her? Of course. Even though she was mean? Especially then. Lily folded her small hands over her chest, closing her eyes tight. Dear God, please help Miss Evelyn remember who she is. Not the scary boss lady, but the real her. The one who laughed when we danced. The one who cried when I showed her my drawing. Help her not be scared anymore. And maybe help her come back to us. Amen. She opened one eye. Was that okay? Perfect. Daniel kissed her forehead, turned off the light. In the doorway, he paused. I'm proud of you, Lily, for still caring when it hurts. Mom would pray for her too, wouldn't she? Without question. Across the city, 60 floors above the street, Evelyn stood at her wall of windows. The penthouse stretched behind her, marble and chrome, leather and crystal. Every surface reflected success. Every corner whispered power. She felt none of it. The scene replayed on loop, Lily's book hitting the floor, those huge eyes filling with tears, Daniel's quiet dignity as he lifted his sobbing daughter, the soft click of the door. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. The bar cart gleamed in the corner. She poured a glass of wine, a vintage worth more than Daniel made in a month. The crystal was perfect weight in her hand, the color deep as blood. She set it down without drinking. Everything tasted like ash lately. The wine, the catered meals, the victory of keeping her position. Haberton had called within an hour of Daniel's departure, his satisfaction oozing through the phone. Smart choice, Evelyn. The board is pleased. Pleased. She moved to her son's photograph on the mantel. Marcus, frozen at 16, his smile bright and unguarded. Before the accident. Before she'd buried herself in work to avoid the grief. Before she'd pushed away his father, her sister, anyone who reminded her of what she'd lost. I did it again. The words came out raw, directed at the boy who couldn't hear them. I chose the company, just like I did with you. All those missed games, missed concerts, missed conversations because a meeting was more important. And now, her voice cracked, now I fired the first real friend I've had in years. And I broke a little girl's heart, a little girl who just wanted to love me. The tears came then, not the silent ones she'd learned to hide, but ugly body-shaking sobs that echoed through the empty space. I'm repeating every mistake, every single one, choosing pride over love, safety over connection, this empire over family. She sank onto the Italian leather sofa, her designer dress creasing. They made me remember what it felt like. To laugh without calculation. To be needed for more than signatures and decisions. To be seen as more than a bank account or a business opportunity. The penthouse offered no comfort. Its silence was different from Daniel's apartment, not peaceful, but hollow, like a beautiful tomb. I can't do this anymore, Marcus. I can't keep choosing wrong. But even as she said it, she didn't know how to choose differently. The board's threat was real. Her empire, built over 30 years, could crumble with one vote. Was a janitor and his daughter worth that price? The question itself made her sick. That she even had to weigh human connection against corporate power showed how lost she'd become. Somewhere across the city, a 7-year-old was praying for her. She didn't deserve it. The days crawled by like wounded animals. Daniel picked up work where he could, fixing Mrs. Chen's leaking faucet, patching the Rodriguez family's fence, cleaning gutters for the church. His hands stayed busy, but his mind kept circling back to that office, to Lily's tears, to choices made in fear. Each morning Lily asked the same question. Has Miss Evelyn called? No, sweetheart. Maybe her phone's broken. Maybe. By the 4th day she'd stopped asking, but Daniel caught her staring out the window during breakfast, watching the street like she expected a familiar car to appear. On Saturday morning, Daniel was helping Mr. Peterson haul old furniture to the curb when he saw it, the sleek black town car, impossibly out of place on their cracked street. His chest tightened. Evelyn stepped out. No power suit this time, just simple slacks and a sweater that made her look almost ordinary, almost human. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. Daniel. He set down the broken chair he'd been carrying, wiped his hands on his jeans. Through the apartment window, a small face pressed against the glass. red hair catching the morning light. We should talk outside. They stood on the sidewalk, him in his work clothes, her looking lost despite knowing exactly where she was. Mrs. Chen pretended to water her plants 2 doors down. Mr. Peterson found urgent business checking his mailbox. I made a terrible mistake. Daniel folded his arms, waiting. I let fear control me. The board threatened my position, and I chose the empire I built over the family you were helping me remember how to be. Her hands trembled. She clasped them together. These past days have been hell. Sitting in that penthouse, surrounded by everything I thought mattered, realizing none of it means anything without connection, without love. You hurt her. I know. She cried herself to sleep for 3 nights. Evelyn's composure cracked. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix it. The words weren't cruel, just honest. Daniel had learned long ago that some wounds needed more than apologies. Can I see her? Please? He glanced back at the window. Lily had disappeared, probably hiding behind the door, listening. Lily? The door cracked open. One green eye peeked out. It's okay. She came out slowly, barefoot, despite the cold concrete, still in her pajamas with the cartoon cats. She stood on the steps, studying Evelyn like she was trying to solve a puzzle. Then she flew down the stairs. I knew you'd come back. The hug nearly knocked Evelyn over. Small arms wrapped tight around her waist, face buried against her stomach. I prayed every night. Daddy said people sometimes get scared and make bad choices, but that doesn't mean they're bad people, and I knew you weren't bad, just scared and... Evelyn's knees gave out. She sank to the sidewalk, pulling Lily with her, sobbing openly while the entire neighborhood watched. Mrs. Chen stopped pretending to garden. Mr. Peterson gave up on the mailbox. Even the teenagers across the street paused their basketball game. Evelyn Whitmore, Billionaire CEO, crying on broken pavement while a 7-year-old held her. I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. It's okay. You're here now. I was so scared of losing everything. I almost lost the only things that mattered. Daniel watched, his expression unreadable. When Evelyn finally looked up at him, mascara streaking her cheeks, she didn't try to hide the mess she'd become. I'm asking for your forgiveness, both of you. Forgiveness isn't just words. She nodded, still holding Lily. It's action. It's choosing differently next time. It's proving you've learned. Tell me how. Tell me what to do, and I'll do it. That's not how it works. Daniel's voice stayed level. You have to figure out what right looks like. No one can hand you integrity. She stood slowly, Lily's hand still in hers. The board meets Monday. They expect me to announce the new direction, more aggressive, more profit-focused, more everything I've been. And I'm going to tell them they can either accept the company I want to build, one that values people over profits, or they can find a new CEO. That's your empire you're talking about? No. She squeezed Lily's hand. That's just money and glass towers. This? She gestured to Lily, to him, to the shabby street that felt more real than any boardroom. This is worth fighting for. Lily tugged her sleeve. Will you stay for breakfast? Daddy makes really good pancakes. Evelyn looked at Daniel, questioning. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, pancakes sound good. As they walked inside, Mrs. Chen called out in Mandarin. Mr. Peterson waved. The teenagers went back to their game. The neighborhood had witnessed something rare, a powerful person choosing love over power. Evelyn paused in the doorway of their small apartment, taking in the cramped space she'd visited before. It looked different now, not lesser than her penthouse, just fuller. Fuller of life, of meaning, of all the things money couldn't buy. Thank you, she whispered to Daniel. Don't thank me yet. You've got a lot to prove. I know. Lily pulled her toward the kitchen. Do you like blueberries? We have frozen ones. The boardroom smelled like leather and old money. 23 directors sat around the mahogany table, their faces hard as the wood beneath their manicured hands. Through floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawled below like a kingdom waiting for its verdict. Evelyn entered alone. No assistants, no lawyers, just her. "Gentlemen, ladies." She didn't sit. Standing gave her the high ground, and she'd need every advantage. Richard Blackstone, senior board member, cleared his throat. "Evelyn, we've called this meeting to discuss your recent indiscretions." "You mean my recent clarity? Is that what we're calling it?" Margaret Chen, no relation to Daniel's neighbor, tapped her Mont Blanc against her portfolio. "The tabloids are calling it a midlife crisis. Billionaire and the janitor. It's embarrassing." "To whom?" "To all of us. Our stock price is up 3%. A temporary fluctuation." Blackstone's jaw tightened. "The real damage is to our reputation. Clients are asking questions. Investors are nervous." "Good." The room stirred. Whispers rippled like wind through expensive suits. "I'm sorry?" Margaret's voice pitched higher. "They should be nervous. They should ask questions. For too long, we've built our empire on the backs of people we'd never invite to dinner. We've torn down neighborhoods to build towers most folks can't afford to enter. That's business." "That's wrong." Evelyn moved to the windows, looking down at the streets where Daniel and Lily lived, somewhere out there in the maze of ordinary life. 3 weeks ago, a 7-year-old girl asked me why I was crying. Her father, a man who works 16-hour days to keep a roof over her head, told her that even strong people need kindness. They gave me something this boardroom never has: truth. "Evelyn," Blackstone stood, his patience fraying, "we're prepared to offer you a graceful exit, generous severance. Keep your dignity." "My dignity isn't yours to give." She turned, facing them all. "Here's what's going to happen. I'm restructuring this company. 30% of our profits will fund a new foundation for struggling families. We'll stop predatory lending. We'll build affordable housing that actually deserves the word home." The eruption came instantly. "Absolutely not." "You've lost your mind." "The shareholders will revolt." Evelyn's palm slammed the table. The sound cracked like thunder. "I am the majority shareholder." Silence. "I own 51% of this company. My money, my rules." "You'll destroy everything we've built," Margaret hissed. "No, I'll transform it into something worth building." Blackstone's face had gone purple. "This is about that janitor, isn't it? Some working-class nobody turned your head with sob stories. That nobody has more integrity in his work boots than you have in your entire portfolio. We'll fight this. Legal action. Try it." Evelyn pulled out her phone, swiping to reveal a recording app. "This entire conversation is being streamed to my lawyers, along with the files I've collected over the years. Tax dodges, under-the-table deals. Should I continue?" The room went cold. "Now," she pocketed her phone, "anyone who wants out can tender their resignation by end of business. I'll buy your shares at market price. Anyone who stays does so under my vision. Decide." She walked toward the door, then paused. "Oh, and that man you call the janitor? He'll be directing our new Community Impact Division. His daughter will help us remember why we do this work, to build futures, not just fortunes." The boardroom exploded behind her as she left, but Evelyn didn't look back. In the elevator, her hands shook. She'd either saved her soul or destroyed her empire. Maybe both. Her phone buzzed. News alerts already breaking. Whitmore Enterprises CEO announces radical restructuring. Billionaire chooses charity over profit. Corporate meltdown or moral stand. 3 hours later, she stood outside Daniel's apartment again. This time, she knocked properly. Daniel opened the door, dish towel over his shoulder. Behind him, Lily sat at the kitchen table doing homework. "Turn on the news." He frowned but grabbed the remote. The television flickered to life. Unprecedented move by CEO Evelyn Whitmore, who today announced that Whitmore Enterprises will dedicate 30% of profits to a new foundation supporting working families. The announcement has sent shockwaves through Wall Street. "Miss Evelyn?" Lily jumped up, homework forgotten. "You're on TV." "Is this real?" Daniel's voice was careful, like he was afraid to hope. "The foundation launches tomorrow. I want you both there. Evelyn? Please, you helped me remember what matters. Let me show you I haven't forgotten." Daniel glanced at Lily, who was practically vibrating with excitement. "What do you think, sweetheart?" Lily threw her arms around Evelyn's waist. "She remembered who she is, Daddy. I told you she would." Over his daughter's head, Daniel met Evelyn's eyes. Something passed between them, understanding, respect, maybe the beginning of trust. "We'll be there." That night, alone in her penthouse, Evelyn looked at her son's photograph. "I'm trying, baby. I'm finally trying to build something you'd be proud of." For the first time in years, she thought she heard his answer in the wind. The ballroom at the Whitmore Foundation's launch sparkled with understated elegance. White roses instead of orchids, warm lighting instead of crystal chandeliers. Evelyn had insisted on keeping it simple, real. Daniel adjusted his tie for the 10th time, standing backstage with Lily. "You look handsome, Daddy." "Thanks, sweetheart." He smoothed her yellow dress, the one they'd bought specially for today. "You ready?" "Are you?" Before he could answer, Evelyn appeared. Gone was the severe business suit. She wore a soft blue dress that made her look younger, warmer. "It's time." They walked onto the stage together. The crowd quieted. Journalists, community leaders, some of the same executives who'd sneered at Daniel weeks ago. Evelyn took the microphone. "6 weeks ago, I was crying on a bench in Riverside Plaza. Broken. Lost. Convinced that power and money were all I had left." She paused, finding Daniel and Lily in the wings. Then, a 7-year-old girl asked her father a simple question. "Daddy, why is that lady crying?" Murmurs rippled through the audience. Her father could have hurried her along, could have told her it wasn't their business. Instead, he knelt down and said, "Sometimes even the strongest people forget how strong they are. That's when they need kindness most." Someone in the crowd sniffled. That moment, that question planted a seed. Today, we harvest it. She gestured toward the wings. "Please welcome the inspiration for everything you see here today, Daniel and Lily Harper." Daniel's legs felt wooden as he walked out, Lily's hand in his. The applause started slowly, then built to thunder. "This man," Evelyn continued, "works harder in one day than most of us do in a week. He raised his daughter alone after losing his wife. He treats everyone, from CEOs to cleaning crews, with equal respect. When I offered him a job, he didn't flatter me. He didn't scheme for advantage. He simply worked." She turned to face him directly. "Daniel Harper doesn't have an MBA. He doesn't have connections or a trust fund. What he has is integrity, compassion, wisdom that can't be taught in boardrooms. That's why I'm proud to introduce him as our Director of Community Impact." The applause swelled again. Daniel's throat tightened. "Not because he's my friend, though I'm honored to call him that, but because he understands what our families need. He's lived it." She knelt beside Lily. "Would you like to say something?" Lily nodded, stepping to the microphone that Evelyn lowered for her. The room held its breath. Hi," her small voice carried clearly. "My daddy says everyone deserves help sometimes. Even strong people, even rich people, even sad people." She looked out at the sea of faces. "We just want everyone to have a family that doesn't forget them." The silence lasted 3 heartbeats. Then someone stood, then another. Within seconds, the entire room was on its feet, applause mixing with more than a few tears. On stage, Evelyn reached for Daniel's hand. He hesitated, then took it. Not a handshake, a clasp, an understanding. Forgiveness, witnessed by hundreds. The photographer's flash captured it. The billionaire and the janitor. connected by a little girl who saw past everything that should have kept them apart. Later, after the speeches and handshakes, after the reporters and the promises of support, Evelyn found herself in Daniel's small kitchen. "I can order something," she offered, watching him stir a pot on the stove. "Nope, you're getting Harper family stew. Lily, set another place." "Already did," Lily chirped, pointing to the mismatched plates. The table was too small for three. Their knees bumped. The stew was simple: beef, potatoes, carrots. The cornbread was slightly burnt on one edge. It was perfect. "My mom's recipe," Daniel explained, ladling second helpings. "She used to say the secret ingredient was, love," Lily interrupted. "Grandma always said love." Evelyn's eyes misted. "My son would have liked this. He always complained our chef's food had no soul." "Tell us about him," Daniel said gently. So she did. Between bites of stew and cornbread with butter, Evelyn talked about Thomas, his laugh, his drawings, how he'd sneak into her office to leave silly notes in her briefcase. "He sounds wonderful," Lily said, reaching across to pat Evelyn's hand. "He was. He would have loved you, Lily. You have the same gift, seeing good in everyone." They talked until late, about everything and nothing. Lily showed Evelyn her homework. Daniel told stories from his construction days. Evelyn admitted she hadn't cooked a meal in 20 years. "We'll teach you," Lily announced. "Won't we, Daddy?" "If she wants to learn." "I do." Evelyn meant it. "I want to learn all of it. How to make stew, how to help with homework, how to be—" "Family," Lily supplemented. The word hung there, precious and fragile. "Yeah," Evelyn whispered. "Family." When she finally left, Lily hugged her at the door. "You don't have to cry alone anymore." "Neither do you." Walking to her car, Evelyn looked back at the warm window, where Daniel was washing dishes and Lily was dancing to radio music. She'd built an empire worth billions. Tonight, in that cramped apartment, she'd found something worth everything. Weeks passed in a blur of foundation meetings, community visits, and quiet dinners around Daniel's small table. The city dressed itself in holiday finery once more, strings of lights crisscrossing streets like promises kept. "Can we go see the plaza lights?" Lily bounced on her toes, already bundled in her red coat, the same one from last year, though the sleeves were getting short. Daniel glanced at Evelyn, who sat at their kitchen table reviewing foundation paperwork in jeans and an old sweater he'd lent her when she'd spilled soup. "What do you think?" She looked up, reading something in his expression. The plaza, where it all started. "I'd like that." The crowds were thick, families pressing close for warmth and wonder. Daniel hoisted Lily onto his shoulders, her mittened hands pointing everywhere at once. "Look, they added reindeer this year, and the trees even bigger." Evelyn walked beside them, her simple wool coat a far cry from the designer armor she'd worn a year ago. No one recognized her. She was just another woman enjoying the lights with her family. Her family. The thought still caught her off guard sometimes. They reached the center of the plaza. The bench was still there, painted fresh green, the same spot where she'd shattered in front of strangers. Evelyn stopped walking. The memory hit like a physical thing. The crushing weight of grief, the humiliation of public tears, the moment a child's innocent question changed everything. "Hey." Daniel's voice was soft beside her. "You okay?" She hadn't realized her eyes were wet until he asked, but this time, when she touched her cheek, she was smiling. This time, they're happy tears. From Daniel's shoulders, Lily leaned down, her face serious with 7-year-old wisdom. "See, Daddy? She's not crying because she's sad anymore." The laugh bubbled up from somewhere deep, mixing with the tears until Evelyn couldn't tell them apart. Daniel laughed too, rich and warm in the cold air. "Come on," Lily urged, reaching down. "We haven't seen the angel display yet." Evelyn took her small hand. Daniel offered his other arm, and she took that too. They walked forward together, three people who shouldn't have fit, but somehow did. The angel display was new, dozens of illuminated figures with spread wings, arranged in a spiral of light. Other families clustered around, children's faces glowing with reflected brilliance. "They're beautiful," Evelyn breathed. "Mommy loved angels," Lily said quietly. "She said they were always around, even when we couldn't see them." Daniel's arm tightened slightly under Evelyn's hand. "Maybe she sent us one?" Lily continued, looking directly at Evelyn. The words should have been too much, too presumptuous. Instead, they settled into Evelyn's chest like coming home. Snow began to fall, fat flakes that caught the light, and turned the whole plaza into a snow globe. Lily shrieked with delight, wriggling to get down and catch snowflakes on her tongue. Watching her spin in circles, arms wide, Evelyn found herself whispering words she hadn't said in years. "Thank you." Not to Daniel, though she was grateful for him. Not to Lily, though the child had saved her soul. The prayer went higher, to whatever force had orchestrated this impossible second chance. "Thank you for letting me love again, for letting me be loved." The words were barely sound, lost in the noise of the crowd and Lily's laughter. But Daniel heard something, because he shifted closer, his presence solid and warm. "No regrets?" he asked. She thought of her pristine office, now cluttered with Lily's drawings, her designer wardrobe, half replaced with comfortable clothes suitable for playground visits, her carefully controlled life, beautifully disrupted. "Not one." Lily ran back to them, cheeks pink with cold and joy. She grabbed Evelyn's hand, then Daniel's, trying to pull them toward the carousel. "Come on. They're doing free rides tonight." But then she stopped, looking up at Evelyn with those impossibly wise eyes. "You don't have to be alone anymore." The words were matter of fact, a simple statement of truth from a child who dealt in absolutes, yet they undid something in Evelyn, some last knot of fear she'd been carrying. "I know, sweetheart. I know." The lights twinkled above them, brighter than ever. Or maybe that was just how they looked through tears, happy ones this time. The plaza hummed with life and celebration, with families and laughter and second chances. A year ago, Evelyn had broken here, shattered by loss and loneliness, convinced she'd never feel whole again. Tonight, she stood in the same spot, hand in hand with two people who'd taught her that broken things could be mended, that strength could look like gentleness, that love wasn't weakness, but the greatest power of all. The carousel music started, bright and cheerful. Lily tugged their hands again, and this time they followed, three figures moving together through the falling snow. Not perfect, not without scars, but whole and home. If you enjoyed the story, I hand-picked this next story that you will enjoy. Please don't miss this one. Click here to watch it.